All right, good evening, everyone. Let me go ahead and see once we get updated here on Facebook that I see that we're live here. I'll be able to wait. I think that was it right there. No, okay. Give me 1 second because it takes a minute for it to pop up on our end. But we do have a tornado warning that is coming into its way through Imperial. The storm is kind of itself moving northeasterly, possibly. I don't want to say for sure because it's not for certain, but they might make some adjustments to the tornado warning as it is kind of moving northeasterly right now. But once I see that we get the confirmation that we're live here on Facebook, I'll be able to go ahead and get on it and answer y'all's questions. But we do have a confirmed tornado warning. This is not confirmed on the ground or anything at the moment. The rotation is rather broad, in fact, and doesn't really have much of a tight couplet at the moment, at least for indication of there could be more of an actual potential funnel coming on the ground. And right now it is just looking at broad rotation. It did have a little bit of a small couplet earlier, but it looks like it might be going through more of its cycling. But let me go ahead and see if whenever we get live on Facebook. But right now we do have the inflow that is going into the storm. This is kind of the rotation area that I am looking at. In fact, it is more so right here, but that's the inflow that is going towards in the storm. Right now it is still very broad. In fact, there's not really much of anything going on. Let me go ahead and check our debris tracker, which thankfully we're not seeing much of a strong signature that there is anything on the ground. In fact, more of anything that is possibly even more of the hail, especially well up more. If we even look into some storms over here, that is more of an indication of a hail core within inside the storm. And if we check on our reflectivity, it pretty much shows that hail core well into effect right there, because even hail can pop up on reflectivity as well. But if you're just now joining us, we do have a confirmed tornado warning. It is slowly making its way through Grandfalls. It is not confirmed on the ground or anything. This is more of a radar indicated rotation, in fact, which is, you know, we hope we can kind of keep it that way. We're not seeing much of a tight velocity couplet at the moment. There was a little bit of a small tightening rotation earlier within the storm, but it wasn't anything that was crazy concerning at the moment. The rotation itself is still staying very broad, in fact. But right now, let me go ahead and get more of a track on it. The National Weather Service, they do have this heading. Oh yeah, it looks like the rotation is within the latest update. It looks like it is slowly beginning to fall apart, which is a good thing, but at the same time, the storm could be cycling, trying to form some form of new rotation. The storm looks like it is moving kind of northeasterly, so if that rotation keeps on falling apart, that would be more of a better thing than not. But so far, let's go ahead and take a look at all the other severe thunderstorm warnings. We do have one as we wait for a new update. We do have one coming into the Midland Odessa region. Right now, it's quite hard to see because of our radar. Our radar is just right there, that little kind of cone that you see right there with the little beam that's going around. So typically when storms go over that radar beam, or even within that close vicinity, it's typically kind of hard to be able to see pretty much what kind of cloud tops we can look at, and it kind of, the data gets a little bit distorted. But the National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning that's going to be in effect into the Midland Odessa region until about 1:30 a.m. Central Time. Over 200,000 people are affected, and right now we're only looking at quarter-size hail gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and that is slowly moving into the kind of like north to northeasterly direction. But we do expect with this line of storms, it is going to come, make its way through and throughout much of the Permian Basin. We still have a lot of flash flood warnings in effect heading into Carlsbad, which in that storm, let's see how much rainfall has been reported. So between 1 to 3 inches of rain has fallen out into near Carlsbad, and they are expecting there could be already flash flooding or flash flooding immediate. So that's going to be in effect until about 12:15 a.m. Mountain Time. Let's go ahead and check this flash flood warning out into let me click right there. The flash flood warning that is currently in Eunice, Hobbs, Jaw, and Lovington, that is affecting over 45,000 people. At the same time, though, over 1 to 3 inches of rainfall has fallen, but pretty much heading into Carlsbad, Lovington, Jaw, you are good for the night. You know, you may still see more of a stray shower, but at least I think when it comes to the kind of bulk of the severe threat, you should be relatively good for the night, as the cold front is going to be well passing through, because I feel like we could still see a few showers here and there, but for the most part it is just going to end up drying us out, and that's going to be heading what we're going to end up seeing for tomorrow. Let me go ahead and check on the severe thunderstorm warning that is currently right here. It is a very wide area of a severe thunderstorm warning, pretty much covering that whole real estate of that kind of line of storms that we're seeing. So this is also still kind of indicative into the outer portions of Hobbs. Hobbs is slowly fixing to be done for the night as that storm is moving eastward. That's going to be still for Kermit, heading into Monahans and Seminole. This storm is producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with up to quarter-size hail. And again, it's kind of moving into that easterly. I do expect sooner than later we'll start to see a little bit more of an easterly motion within these storms, which is kind of slowly indicative of what we're already seeing. So if the storms start moving a little bit more easterly, it's going to be a very kind of messy type of line I'm drawing here. But if the storms really start kind of getting into that direction, I would say areas in near Big Spring around like that 2:40, the near 3 o'clock mark, that's when you can slowly start seeing this line of storms. I do expect it possibly could start to break up just a little bit. You know, right now this line, it's still holding itself together, but right now, thankfully, with a lot of the storms, it's just been a lot of good heavy rainfall. We've been seeing pretty good, like 1 to 3 inches out into near Carlsbad, the same type of deal running up into Hobbs. Right now, I think the main type of storm that is at least the most convective storm is the one that we are keeping an eye on that is more south. This is heading in towards near Big Lake as well. We also have one in Ozona. I'll get to one that bit. But with this one has been showing signs of broad rotation. It is in a little bit of a more favorable environment. It is heading into a lower populated area, but we still got to take care of our folks out into Rankin. There is still a severe thunderstorm warning, and let me go ahead and read the details on what the National Weather Service has indicated within this. Thankfully, it is 60-mile-per-hour gusts and only up to quarter-size hail. We haven't seen anything too crazy. I think I was talking with Jordan earlier. The highest hail size he has seen today is up to golf ball size. So if we can kind of keep it around that radar, I think for the most part we should be okay. But let me go ahead and just check on the velocity super quick with this storm and see if it still is trying to indicate that kind of broad rotation. So it is for the most part, but it's nothing really impressive at the moment. And with it, that's the new scan that just came in. I'll check with that tornado warning. And right now it's nothing too impressive, but it's slowly trying to get some form of rotation. But it looks like, quite frankly, they actually let the tornado warning actually dissipate, which makes sense for the most part. It was pretty much starting to fizzle out. But I'm going to go ahead and just go through one more update through all the storms, and then we'll probably go ahead and end this live stream. But we will be here all night. We're going to keep doing live updates, especially if we do get these tornado warnings that's going to come through. And I'll show kind of do a quick forecast of reflectivity and what I'm expecting with these storms as we head in throughout the rest of the night. So just kind of go through updates one more time. If you are just now joining us, we do still have that flash flood warning all the way into near Carlsbad, New Mexico. That's going to be in effect until about 12:15 Mountain Time. That's about 1:15 Central Time as well. 1 to 3 inches of rainfall has fallen, and flash flooding is expected and ongoing. So people in Carlsbad, you are done for the night, at least when it comes to the bulk of the severe threat. You still may see a couple showers here and there, but I think for the most part, we are relatively done out into Carlsbad. Hobbs, you are slowly fixing to be done. The same type of deal in Eunice, Jaw, you're fixing to get a little bit of some heavy rainfall that's fixing to make its way through. Let me go ahead and get those details on regarding of that current flash flood warning, which is still going to be into effect. Let me move it up just right there. That one is going to be in effect until about 2:45 a.m. Mountain Time, and it's the same type of deal. Between 1 to 3 inches of rainfall has fallen, and possibly still additional amounts. I definitely say even down more down near Jaw, New Mexico, possibly an additional inch could fall within some of these storms. So some good rainfall, but when it's all at once, that's the rainfall we just don't need in our area. But let me go ahead and just do a quick update regarding the severe thunderstorm warning. Pretty much it's covering a wide margin area. This is going to be in effect until about 1:45 a.m. I could likely see them extending the severe thunderstorm warning eastward at some point as this line of storms is making its way through. We are currently seeing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and up to quarter-size hail within this system as well, and definitely are keeping an eye a little bit more on this little kind of belt of system. It looks like it is indicative of a little bit of a stronger cell. Let me just go ahead and get our hail tracker up super quick on it. If I can, there we go, it's on my graphic, and see what it is trying to say. Let me pause it right there. It is not reading it very good right now, but let me go ahead and get a little bit more of a darker reading right there, and let me get the hell. So it's saying possibly up to near 2 inches. That possibly may be on the highest end at the moment, but that is something we are going to be watching, as these storms could still produce up to 2-inch diameter in hail. That is nearly up into that, I think on the highest, and that could be up to near that baseball size, up into near. So we could still see that severe thunderstorm warning that is into Midland, Odessa. It looks like the storm is kind of riding north of Gardendale at the moment. It has been producing up to near 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and up to quarter-size hail as well. It looks like it slowly is riding towards the north of Midland, but since our radar is right there, it's hard to get an exact idea of what is exactly going on. But if we switch over to the San Angelo radar that we can kind of see on our end, it looks like there's pretty much skirting just north along I-20 at the moment. It's hard to get an exact detail, but look, yeah, it looks like it's skirting pretty much just north along I-20, and it looks like the storm is actually weakening just a little bit, and they have that severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30 a.m., so they might be able to let that expire, but I do anticipate they will go ahead and actually expand this severe thunderstorm warning that will be heading eastward as well. But to go ahead and just check on the storms down here into south of Ira, and real quick, this is a storm that I've been keeping an eye on that has still been kind of indicative of more of broad rotation within at least like the last 30 minutes now. We've been keeping an eye on it for the most part. Right now, it's still producing up to quarter-size hail, gusts nearly up to 60 miles per hour as well. And the storm down into Ozona as well, it is technically just outside of our area, but it is still producing up into Crockett County up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and up to quarter-size hail. It is kind of moving into kind of that northeasterly direction. This one's kind of more of a northerly motion, to be quite frank with you. It says like moving northeast at 40 miles per hour, but it might be slowly start trying to move a little bit more north. But we do expect this line of storms to, once it starts trying to get a little bit more together, I could still see it could possibly be into this kind of messy line of convection at the moment. But if I go ahead and just draw out, this is just a very broad, don't take it fully with a grain of salt, but possibly into areas of Snyder, possibly about 3:47 a.m., just kind of a broad idea if this line tries to stick it together, possibly by Big Lake around 2:56 a.m. Still, if the line will likely stick together, you can have another round in Ira and around 2:18. And this line, once it slowly starts to get more together, it could have another round into Odessa and Midland by around, like, take a grain, it's like 1 to 1:15, 1:30-ish, around into that time range. So we are going to expect that line of storms that's going to come through. Let me go ahead and show one of how our models have been taken. I'm going to show the HER model. It's a model that has actually been, for the most part, it's been doing okay within this system. But go ahead and ignore the note that pops up on the right-hand corner. That was from the forecast this morning. But once this graphic is able to load, there we go. It's been doing quite well within this system. So pretty much it should slowly start moving into the Odessa Midland region around like that 1:30, 2 o'clock region. And then it slowly is going to start making its way more eastward. And it could still be within our viewing area by around into the morning show, around that 5 to 6 a.m. if the storm even kind of moves in this slow. But we can kind of see the trend that is slowly beginning to happen here. The storms are expected to start kind of falling apart as it starts making its way eastward as well. So we could expect it to be at least out of our viewing area probably around like 6 or 7, and then it's going to start even making some way more so into the San Angelo and Abilene region, which we do cover them heading into the morning show. So definitely be sure to tune with us as we head into our morning show. 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. we'll also be doing severe weather coverage, keeping up to date within these storms. I do expect, especially down into San Angelo and Abilene, they could see a possibly good hefty amount of storms ahead of that line. But I think for us here into the Permian Basin, at least areas near like Snyder, Big Lake, if this model keeps on verifying, we should slowly start to see some form of weakening as it starts getting along into our eastern portions with that line of storms. And especially if you have any travel plans, at least like San Angelo and Abilene, they should be relatively done by around 11 to 12 p.m. I think at the absolute latest. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up on this live stream here. Definitely go ahead, if you haven't already, download our NewsWest 9 app. You can scan the QR code as well, and we'll keep up to date with all the forecast updates and what we're tracking as we head in throughout the rest of the night. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back shortly.